Hello and welcome back to Songs of Six. This is Alpha V.65, so if you're wondering why things look different, or if you're expecting a update video on kind of a new system, that is not going to be the case for this video. I do have plans for some more system videos. I have a few more new systems to cover. I just haven't really gotten there to actually cover them. But some people have expressed interest in seeing my test cities and how I'm doing them, and I guess they want to see like a breakdown of how I do it and what I start with. So I'll go to the start. Here is where I put my throne, and this is in the direct center of this nice river. And if I look at my map, not that way, I need to go down here. If I look at my map, my city's name is Mystis. And I chose this little spot right here, this little spot, because it had some clay in a temperate zone with pretty good fertility and some forests nearby, as Cretonians like forests. And this is a Cretonian city. I will try to do each of the races' cities. Some of the races' cities that I've built, like the Talapi city and the human city, have been invaded and destroyed and are long gone. Jake Dev has patched a bunch of the stuff that has been a problem. He is working very fast on that stuff. So you likely will not see the Talapi or the human city, but maybe this is only 5 hours of work making this city. And if I had more time in my life and the energy to sit in a chair for that long, I would definitely try to build all cities, but that would be about 30 hours, because so far it took me about 5 hours to build this city, and that's with very little min-maxing. Playing it as a person normally might play it, you notice I'm just randomly placing things about. The houses aren't really organized. Nothing is very organized. The reason for that is because I'm trying to play like a person who just got the game, someone who's never played before. I'm not playing like Fiend, who's trying to get 10,000 guys. Although I do have an army of significant size and a decent amount of armor and weapons, I think that a natural player will kind of get there. These aren't really expensive to make. I have a hunter who's just gathering leather, and they gather a significant amount of leather per year, and then they take that leather over here to this tailor. This tailor right here, and you can see the recipe is 2 leather for 0.5 armor. So roughly every other animal he's bringing in, or every animal he's bringing in a pair of armor. So that over time is gonna add up. The only things that I've seemed to struggle still with getting is clothes. I had my fabric filled, and I am growing a good amount of cotton, but I'm going way ahead of myself. I'm going to start with the basics, the beginning things that you're going to want to do when you build a city. And I think that's the janitor. I think a janitor is one of the first things you're going to want to put down. Other than your food of choice, when you start, you're going to be starting with grain. So grain is going to be a difficult start for people who are used to fruit or vegetables, because you can eat those. And that provides a little bit of time for your people to survive. Other than that, you start with 20 rations. As Cretonians, my first time around, they starved to death within the first year. By the time summer rolled around, they were starving to death. So I wasn't even able to harvest wild edibles before they started to die. I'm gonna comment to the dev about that, say maybe they should do 30 or 40 rations so that you don't die on the first year, especially as Cretonians. Maybe other races can get less, but just because that's a little unfair, The way that I had beat that or counteracted that is I had them hunt these animals out here. Got like a few orcs, and it took a few years. I actually had to keep hunting animals manually to get enough food so that my people don't starve, because Kryptonians like to eat more than the average person. If I look at their properties, should be under, it's usually under one of these here. I'm always bad at finding it though. It should be satiety, but it might be gone. Might not be there, but they do have a faster rate of hunger, and they eat more than the average person. So they'll eat like 0.75, where a regular person will eat 0.5. That aside, that is the first initial challenge I faced when I started this city, was getting enough food for the people to actually survive. After a little bit, and I had time to actually go and harvest these wild edibles. Where they we had wild edibles here, some vegetables, and there's a little bit in our city, fruits. So these helped us grow. I built small farms first, not giant big farms like these. I built kind of like this size farms for fruit and vegetables, and I had them, so you can see I can reseed them here. I had them like this so that I could use the amount of vegetables or fruit available and actually make the farm. If you set it more than you have, then they're just going to let it sit, or they might eat a small portion of the fruit that you have, and then you won't be able to actually build your farm. So it's important that you give them a way to actually access that, so you can turn off their access to fruit and vegetables. Oh, see there. I have it turned off because I had to build another vegetable farm because I kept running out. Then, after you've got your farm set up, you can focus on pretty much anything you want, because the Kryptonians, in my opinion, are just an open race. Once they get the farms going, they really start to steamroll. And it seems weird because they aren't as good, they didn't seem as good before, but they're pretty good now. Or a little easier than I should say. So, the next step I did was make a carpenter. And then a bakery. And I continue to make warehouses and little things like lavatories, this food stall and market, the stage. After I got some research points, I put a arena or fight pit, and these two boost pretty good for the population thing here. So if you look at the services, I'm missing arenas, grand arenas, taverns, bathhouses, and physicians. If I was to get a physician and restaurants, but restaurants and food stalls count as the same food. So if I was to get restaurants, I could remove food stalls throughout the city, from my understanding. So with physicians available, barbers, bathhouses, taverns, and grand arenas, my services will shoot up. And the same, once I get a temple, this will shoot up as well. For the environment, you can see that the Kryptonians like roads, but they prefer to have access to dirt roads and wooden houses. Buildings, they like to be in wooden buildings. Climate is just temperate. There are others. This basically, from my understanding, means that if they have a specific amount of guys of their race around them, it's not if there's others of another race. It's more like if they have friends of their same race, so they're happy. Multi-race cities are possible, but they are extremely challenging. Roundness has to do with the amount of round-shaped objects in your city, these diagonals. Cannibalism Corpses says itself. Benches. Noise access. They don't seem to be bothered by noise. Although it says 36%, it doesn't have a bar. So I don't think they are actually bothered by noise. I think you could build them right next to something. So I built this little wall here to try to mitigate some of the noise coming from this bakery. But now that I'm looking at it, I don't think they care about that. You have lighting, space, so they like to have a little bit of space, harmony, and dread. Dread isn't one of those things they need, but it actually helps, as well as pillars and trees and statues. So we have plenty of trees throughout the city, and our soldiers count as 0.42, which I believe is kind of an odd numbering because there's half our people are soldiers, more than that, or roughly half, and rations, which is weird because I thought they had to care for gems, but it seems like they care about rations now. and I have 919 rations. The ration maker was one of the things I made early on too. If you look, I have the bread, 5 bread and 2 herbs, making 3 rations. I believe these are still the exact same as they were before. Maybe a little bit bigger. It feels like it might be a little more. But that is the basic of what I did. And then I just kind of, I made it all aesthetic looking. I just tried to cover my bases. I built these supply depots trying to figure out how to send out a world army. That might need a little help. But if you look, I've got guys with 1 armor and 1 warhammer each, all of them, and they are at 20% training. You can't see where their training is, but if you look at that little orange bar, if they're at full training, it'd be all the way up there for the melee, and if it was for ranged, it would be all the way orange up here on the little arrow symbol. It's very, very small. I have bad eyesight, and that's very, very, very hard to see, so if you can't see it, no, don't worry. But that's what that means. So these guys are at 20% training, and they have different training values. I believe that you could only do like 25, 50, 75, and 100 before, or something along those lines. Now you can actually do like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way up. So you have a little bit of variation to your units. What else did I want to cover for this one? That's part of the reason why I didn't do a cover of the videos, but I do feel like I owe it to the guy, because people have asked multiple times to see my process and just a breakdown of my cities. And I feel like a hack because I'm just jumping in. There's no like start to this series. There's just going to be a overview of what this city is, and that's it. So it's kind of hard to just go from this is where I started and this is what I have. But you can see I've got these little depots, little sub-towns that allow me to get things like clay. And the reasoning for that is the cities are more self-sufficient. People's races aren't as bad at things they used to be bad at. So, for example, if I look at this, they aren't bad at mining. They're just not as good at it than other races. So, for example, Dundarians and Garthames are pretty good at that. So you can't have a mine. You can have a charcoaler, and actually have way too much coal. Smelting. I have smelting going on. So on the other half of the city over here, the Kryptonians are actually smelting up iron. They have a iron mine. So these guys are mining over here as well. So the whole goal of the game... Oh, let me put this too. Probably why I'm missing so much furniture is it's all going right there. The whole goal of the game is to become self-sufficient, so that you're creating pretty much all of the resources, and then you can start to specify into what you want. That's my understanding. You could do like this city here, have everything being created. Obviously, making eggs is kind of out of the realm of possibility, but drinks, you're gonna want all these different food types: stone and wood, clay, coal, cotton, grain. All of these things you're gonna want to be doing. Or Scythalon. This is the same as it always was, but you're going to focus on trying to make them more than you will import them, because importing is going to be a lot different. And I'd like to kind of go over how that works. I already currently have... Oh, wait, no, he's not my trade partner. This is my trade partner. You can see he's a trade partner, the Enclave of Naya. If I click the court, this is their leader. And you can see they're led by a humble Amiri. I don't know how to fucking say that. Emirir. That means that they are a level 3. If you go back, you can see this guy is a mirror. So they're not very strong. You can look at his realm. He has an army, 552 guys, but for some reason it's not active. I think it might not be visible to me. But this guy, for example, has a very small baby army. I could go beat him up if I wanted to. But I was talking about trade. And trade is a new system. It's old system being reworked. So if you'd like to get trade, you have to go into this diplomacy menu with the factions, click trade, and it'll pop up a option that says you get trade, Hella gets trade. And you can use a specific amount of resources, or you could pay them. So if I wanted to, I could click that, give them just enough money or more money if I wanted to, I could type in exactly 2,500, and that would be exactly how much he wants for that. Or I could use resources of the equivalent value. So I could use like armor, 2,000 worth of it, and then just do the trade deal that way. Once you have your trade deal, you'll have a symbol that says trade partner. Trade partners allow you to trade resources. You can barter resources back and forth. I haven't used this little symbol here. Yeah, so actually, how about this? I think that if I was to do that, and I say barter, they will come up with a deal that they find equally valuable. So we'll say sure. Except, and I send him 2 armor, and he's going to send me 135 stone and 60 gold or denarii, not gold. And that is going to come pop into my inventory. And that is just the way that you could do it if you wanted to. If I wanted to do it in a different way, if I, let's say, needed a bunch of iron, I need 10 iron for my new building I'm trying to build. You go like that. You see there's an excess value of 769. Their opinion will go up though. So sometimes if you're worthy of trade with these guys and you really enjoy them as a partner, you give them a little bit of boost like that, accept, and you see that 304% opinion. So these guys are very happy. Whatever his name is, Watson Ha, is a very happy guy. He loves us. He doesn't really feel too threatened by our wealth. He shouldn't, because he has $30 million. But that's kind of a little bit how trade is going to work. And I know this whole video was supposed to be about the Kryptonian breakdown of the city. But I just wanted to cover trade as something I've been thinking about. And I think that people are going to have a struggle with that, because I did at first. But once you know what you're doing and how to make the trade happen, you'll immediately know how to manipulate that trade. So it's important to save specific resources of value and try to make that trade happen early on. Sometimes their opinions change over time. So if I look at him right here, his opinion is 0.37. So he's just pretty okay with me. If I had some emissaries, I think you could make him happier by flattering him and make the trade option much cheaper. So in the future, if you have emissaries, and by the way, emissaries are going to be unlocked at, I believe, 500 people. Yeah, how you feel about that one? 500 people, you unlock emissaries, and at 400, you unlock guard posts, scaffolds, and stocks, as of the alpha currently. So in the future, it's going to take a lot longer for you to actually get a empire up and running, and to take advantage of the benefits of having an empire. But other than that, I think I kind of covered what people wanted. I mostly do aesthetic stuff. So when I'm building the city, I don't think about how far something is or what it is. I do if I'm actually making a city for fun or for seriousness. But for fun, which this city is, I just try to make it look as pretty and as unique as I can, so that if I show people or send it to Jake, the dev, he knows that I'm not trying to min-max it. This is as base as someone who just got the game would probably make their city, in my opinion. Maybe not the culvert. I don't think they would put this little canal through the center of their city, but I mean, maybe not. Who knows? I know for a fact that people are going to want to put these canals down. So I kind of wanted to show you how a canal would look through the city. And these 3 access pumps put together make it access all the way through into the city. If I only had 1, it would stop about right here. If I had 2, it stops about right here. And 3, it gets like all the way into the city. And it allows me to have pools in the city. And you can see these people are constantly skinny dipping. That keeps them cool in the summertime. So whenever there's a big drought that going on or some kind of heat stroke, these guys will just jump in the water, calm down, and you won't have as many crazy people. So they're very useful, and it's valuable to try to get that canal aligned up to your city center or somewhere near all your population. Anyways, just want to say thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.